Hello, I am back with a YouTube video discussing my thoughts for the first time in a very long time. I partially feel the need to explain all these alcohol bottles in this room. It's so we could clear counter space in my parents' kitchen for a little get together. I don't just keep absurd amounts of expensive alcohol in my room normally, though I wish that I could, honestly. Okay, here's the thought. Let me know if you've heard this quote before. I've heard it about 3 times now, which is why I think it's a thing. And in very different contexts. So it must be a thing. I don't even know who said it originally. The idea is this: weak minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and the strongest minds talk about ideas. Have you heard this before? So the premise of this quote is that based on what you discuss, what types of things you discuss, someone can tell the strength of your mind or your intelligence. And it puts a very clear hierarchy on what is worth talking about: ideas, events, and people at the bottom. And the first time I heard this, I was tempted to go along with it. First of all, because I'm an ideas person in general. I love talking about ideas. So it's nice to feel like, oh, that puts me in the top category. What I talk about is more important than what other people talk about. Um, so talking about people feels like gossip. If I'm saying somebody, they only talk about their friends or family or whatever, like, I mean, if you were looking down on that, you could just say that's all gossip. You could say the same thing about events. It's all just gossip. But like ideas, that's what's really worth talking about. And you might even be the kind of person who like just wants to talk about ideas with other people. Maybe you get tired of hearing about other people and hearing about what's going on in the world. So let's move on to ideas. But this is dangerous. I now believe. I don't think that this hierarchy is good. First of all, anytime that there just is a hierarchy, period, be wary of it. Anytime one thing is just assumed to be more worth your time than other things, um, just don't believe it. Be skeptical. Um, what I believe now is that the weak mind would actually be the mind that only talks about one of those things and then looks down on people that talk about the other things. And the strongest mind would be the person that is always aware of and talking about the relationship between those three things. So if you're talking about people, then you're talking about them in context. Maybe it's like how they were acting, maybe it's something they said, maybe it's what they did, it's a movie they acted in, or it's like what your friend did at this party the other day. It's a mix of people and events almost always. But the people create events, or the people were affected by events. And that is literally what makes life worth living, is like things happening. What makes things happen? People and like living things. Why wouldn't you discuss literally what life is about and what's going on? And why won't you share that? You discuss events so that people can be aware. You discuss people so you can be aware. If someone's dangerous, you can talk about people and warn other people about dangerous person. If somebody is worthy of praise, by all means, praise them. Tell someone to go listen to their music. Tell other people to go check out their work. And to listen to them, that person is worth your time. This person is doing that. Isn't that cool that they're doing that? You could do that. Um, Very important. People and events influence ideas, and ideas influence people and events, right? The things that people do are a lot of times because they have a certain idea. And the ideas that people have are a lot of times because of the events that have happened to them and because of the other people that they talk about who have ideas, right? And so if you spend time in just the best thing to discuss, just ideas all the time, you'd actually end up in this meta world of concepts and logic and symbols and philosophy and psychology and analysis, which these are amazing things. I love these things. I'm saying this from somebody who has spent way too much time in their head. If you prioritize ideas over people and events, you are missing out on a lot of important things. You can end up making your home in the world of abstractions, of the meta. I'm thinking about thinking. When a lot of times thinking, period, isn't even the thing to do. Like, you need to be doing, less thinking, more doing. So if you're thinking a lot and then you start thinking about thinking, you start having ideas about ideas, explanations for everything, that can be helpful. We need to have some people who do that and live comfortably there, but also those people need to be present. They should probably do something with those ideas too, which eventually is going to mean they need to come back to the world of doing. The world of doing is the world of events. The world of events is the world in which people do things. So, anyways, I think that this quote. Let me find the actual quote. What I'm saying is, I think it's weak. I think the quote itself is weak. Let's see. Smart people discuss ideas. Let's see what this pulls up. Oh, it's commonly attributed to Eleanor Roosevelt. Okay. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. Yeah, I think it's BS. If you want to get really specific about each of those categories, you could understand what she's saying for sure. If people are just talking about other people in a negative, gossipy way, then, like, I don't know, yeah, that could be worthless, I guess. If it's fun to you, I also don't care that much. And in this article talking about the quote, it says, discussing ideas means to understand the higher level messages behind an event, to understand human behavior, to look beyond what's given and to find solutions to help the world. That's fine. That's great. Like I said, ideas are important. But yeah, I think the hierarchy set up in the quote is faulty. I would prefer an integralist approach, which says, what is the importance in all three of these things? How do they relate to each other? And then, like, something to remind you, don't just talk about one. Anybody who only talks about one of these categories is missing out on a lot. So, yeah. But anybody that only talks about ideas, problematic. Anyone that only talks about events, missing a lot of things. Anybody who only talks about people, likely you're probably going to, like, you might get into gossip category, or into gossip territory a lot. You might be, again, missing out on, like, trying to understand their motivations. You might need to spend some time in the idea world in order to understand why people would act the way that they act, right? Okay, so just, like, none of those is better than any of the others. Don't only talk about one. If you catch yourself always only talking about one of those categories, like what's happening or like who did what, or just ideas, you're probably missing out on a lot of the picture. I think I've said the same thing in a lot of different ways now. So, I'm gonna go and examine this in my own life. I think that I still talk a lot about ideas and not a lot about what's going on and not a lot about people. I don't really like talking about people that much, but like, what am I missing out on? What am I missing out on by not talking about the actual things that are happening? This is our story. This is history. Okay. All right. I'm out of here. I hope you got something out of this. And please comment, like, subscribe. I don't post very often lately, but still, like, subscribe. Bye.